Welcome to Tips to Enjoy Travel. Today we're going to talk about baggage. Now, I personally like carrying carry-on wherever I go. I know that sounds a little bit difficult considering these days you could be travelling from hot climates to cold climates. You could be travelling from cold to hot, and you've got coats and hats and scarves and beanies and gloves and all manner of things that you might be having to carry. Not to mention you may be actually traversing across a few different climates during your travel. So there's all that different type of clothing you have to carry to be able to enjoy your trip no matter where you are or where you end up. So what I end up doing is after many years of lugging around these large suitcases and even buying these very large Samsonite things which are very easy to move around and what have you, but were still very large, I ended up buying virtually a backpack with wheels to begin with, Victorinox backpack with wheels, which to this very day is still in very good condition and does its job admirably. However, I get frowned at now by a lot of staff on the planes because it looks larger than it really is, and they say in some cases it won't fit in the overhead luggage and it has to be put through baggage and what have you. As a result, I've ended up buying a cabin baggage specifically for that reason, so that I don't have to have staff and people at the desks quizzing me and saying that has to go on into the baggage carousel and in the hold of the plane. I've been caught many times in different locations where my baggage for some reason has ended up somewhere else or just didn't arrive with me in my destination, and I end up having to go to a hotel with hardly any clothing, with virtually nothing. So I got wise and I ended up having a small toiletry bag with all the basics, underwear and socks and a change of shirt, and I kept that in a small cabin bag, and I learnt that was handy. However, once you put a computer in and a few other odds and sods, there's no room for anything else. So what I did was I bought a small suitcase which is the size of cabin luggage, and now virtually no matter where I go in the world, if it's a trip anywhere less than 3 weeks long, it is more than large enough for my clothing. A few little tips and tricks that I've learnt along the way and I'll share with you over the coming weeks, but that little bag which I have and I'll show you at some point in the future is only a small cabin type baggage, and it carries enough clothing, shoes, toiletries, you name it, to last me 2 to 3 weeks at a minimum. Now that doesn't mean that I don't get to do any washing while I'm away. I do. All my smalls I do on a daily basis, hang them up in the shower wherever I'm staying so they're dry. If you're in a tropical climate or a hot climate, it's a bonus because they dry much quicker. In a cold climate, you may have to leave them out over a couple of days to dry. So I always carry at least 3 pair of underwear, and that way I have that covered pretty well. So I would recommend to most people getting used to the fact that usually as much as they decide they think they need on a trip, they will end up using a fraction of what they take. That still happens with me. I still come home after 2 weeks and I still have clothing in my bag which I have not worn on that trip. I still don't know how it happens, but it does. And it could be because I wash along the way and I just keep reusing what I've got. It just makes perfect sense. But it works for me, and it has worked very well for now a number of years. So I'll show you next time what the bag looks like, and I'll give you a bit of a rundown of what I take with me. But I can tell you right now, it certainly nips in the bud a lot of heartache of lost baggage, waiting carousels for your baggage to come through, to mention a few. So I'll recommend you do that. Great to get yourself cabin baggage and think hard about what you think you're going to need, then halve it. And then if you can, halve it again, because that's about all you're going to need. Anyway, thanks for tuning in.